the things we cannot see. I would cross the sky forever. It's only just begun. I know you will agree. Things to make us all feel better.
Hi everyone. I'm here today to share some projects that I've been finishing up this week. It's going into the year end, and I have all of these tiny little projects where I've cut the pieces and put some of them together, and they each have their own Tupperware bowls, and I ended up throughout the year accumulating Tupperware bowls that were lined up across my piano, and I decided to take the time at the end of the year to finish up these projects, most of which were for me. You may recognize on the right here, these two are mini journals from the Egyptian collection that I did a number of months back, and the one on the right is a mini journal from the coffee journals that I did, and they're very similar to the large ones, and I thought I would make myself a small one of these. I love mini journals, and one of the Egyptian journals is for someone else, and I'm going to keep one, and the coffee journal as well, but I thought you guys might enjoy seeing what the little ones turned out like, and I'm going to flip through those today for you. The two Egyptian journals are very similar, so I'm just going to flip through one. You'll probably hear noise during the video. Cog is up on the roof installing a couple more solar panel arrays, and so that's not Santa, that's Cog. Well, he's my Santa, but that's the periodic noise that you hear, and if I wait until he's finished working, I won't have any sunlight left to make a better lit video for you. So these are tiny. I have no idea what they measure because I finished up so many mini journals in the last week. They all have different measurements. 4 1/4 high by, call it 3 1/4 wide. So actually it was funny. I got a box of chamomile tea bags that was exactly the shape, and I you know, being a junk journaler, I looked at the box and I said, this would be a perfect size, really chunky journal. And I measured the box, and that was where I got the prototype for this size. The tassels have these Egyptian type beads on them, and the red and turquoise, I never would have mixed those colors. It's very not Mrs. Cog-like, but they were mixed on this fabulous fabric that I used for some of these Egyptian journals. So I just went with the colors, and it turned out really well. And then there's a scarab charm that I put on the top, which is very Egyptian. I'm just going to remove that tassel. I love that. I wish I could remember the name. She wasn't an actress. She was a dancer in the 1920s, the 1910s. Ruth Dennis, that's her name. I'm pretty sure that's her. She used to do yoga and modern dance. And I just left these over wide, over demonstrative sari ties. I left them nice and long because I can, because I love the effect. And the tops just have muslin on it, and I've got a good number of just beaded dangles, so I'll flip through this rather quickly for you. This is actually a painting of the actress Sandra Bernhardt as Cleopatra. I used, as I did for the larger collection of the Egyptian journals, I used 4 different Egyptian themed digis from my shop. And I wasn't getting the sari silk that had the gold threads in it back when I did this this collection. So the larger ones have regular sari in them, but none of the shiny sari that I was able to use in the small ones. And I've been using more index cards with just some sari trim on it for journaling. Stenciling. There's some great paintings of Cleopatra with the Romans in it because, of course, Caesar and then Mark Antony came and had relationships at different time periods with Cleopatra. Really great hieroglyphics there. Some stenciling. I like this size journal because it's not so small that you can't journal in it, that you can't put keepsakes in it and such. There's one of the pictures of Cleopatra when she was painted with more of a Roman complexion and coloring. The different artists throughout the ages that painted her always depicted her as if she was a woman from their own nationality rather than hers. Great Cleopatra. Oh, there's Santa. When he's working downstairs, I always stop what I'm doing and I go and knock back. But he won't hear me while he's up on the ceiling doing that. I'm sorry about the noise. This is the introduction to Shakespeare's Antony and Cleopatra, the play. Just put some little cardstock pockets in here, and this is from Botanica Bella. Did some stamping on index cards and Egyptian flashcards and such. Some hieroglyphics. See, dragonfly with the green patina type finish. I love this. I think these statues are at the Colossus. I'm not. Ooh, without it in front of me, I'm not good with my Egyptian sites. They looked so good with the stenciling on either side, and I did some fun stitching. Putting that in the middle piece there. Some more hieroglyphics. Some little tags stamped on most of these. At the market in Cairo, all the Egyptian fruits and vegetables and such. Another depiction of Cleopatra. Some great marbling that came out naturally. When I tea dye paper, for some reason it only happens at the end when my pans are extra hot after all day, and I put them on the pages onto the sizzling pan to put them in the oven. It gives that marbled, baked look to the paper that's just such wonderful texture. I couldn't do it that way deliberately if I tried, but I always get a few sheets by accident that come out with extra character that way. Another scene from downtown Cairo in Egypt, I believe. Old school downtown. little pocket with the hieroglyphics there. And an Egyptian garden. Can't tell if she's feeding the birds or the birds are just eating there. I took the biggest street scenes, and instead of making them so tiny that none of the detail could be seen, I just sewed them right in, so half is on one side and half is on the other side of the signature, but I don't think it takes away from the overall image to look at it that way. I love that picture with the minarets and the towers in the background. And another beaded charm. Really had fun experimenting with some different stitching in the last few projects, including this that I've stitched up. There were certain stitches that I had not used before because I didn't really envision them in my mind going onto the side of pockets or whatever ephemera I was stitching in, and then I just went ahead and tried it, and what was I thinking, not using it before. And there's the back page, a little tuck spot. This is Cleopatra there. So that is my version of the mini Egyptian. These things are so easy just to, especially with the wider sari, to make look over demonstrative and just something that I want to feel with my hands when I look at the journal. So that's Egypt. This is the mini version of the coffee journals. I had to go with a different fabric on the front because the ones I used before were panels. They were squares, and even cropping part of it out, I couldn't have gotten the same effect. So I found some other coffee fabric in my stash and just put some buttons on it. There's a little Tim Holtz tag there that says number 365 because I know I'm drinking coffee every day. Mrs. Cog is brought to you by her daily coffee intake. And really fun tassel. I made this one. I made the big books the same type of beads and stuff. There's a lotus flower on the bottom, and yeah, teddy bear. So just a really fun one. And I didn't iron out the sari on this one, but I did bead the bottoms. These beads reminded me of coffee beans, the faded coloring, the brown on it. So I'm just going to set this aside. And as I said, I made this one for myself. I love tiny little journals. I have a collection of them. It's one of the first things I saw when I was looking at junk journals that interested me in learning more. This one measures, there's Cog tapping on the roof again. This one measures 3.5 high by 2 3/4 wide. So even smaller than my regular small ones. And I used the coffee digi that I created for the big journals in this. And I did a lot of coffee stamping. I've got some really cool coffee stamps. Pretty sure that's one of Mucha's advertisements that he drew. Definitely Art Nouveau. And this first tab, I did it so you can flip it over and read the whole copy. Little fabric says cream. Older man with his coffee, mocha. And I've got a leaf here. Kind of reminded me of maybe a leaf from a coffee bean tree. Little coffee beans on the tea-dyed tag. I did some extra stitching on this. A little index card, coffee mug, a Tim Holtz. Those are the Tim Holtz coffee stamps. And another Tim Holtz stamp on there. I love that she's smiling while she drinks her coffee. Yeah, that's definitely me, second and third cup. Not so much first cup. And I did a little bit of sorry as a background to the dripped, perked, poured, and foamed pocket here. Caffeine. And this is a pocket too. Trust me, it's a pocket. I may have to get my tweezers to get that out. It's a little index card. Just take my word for it. And that is why I put tabs on most of them. A little extra stitching on my fresh brewed to go. And another coffee stamp. This journal only has 2 signatures, but they were extra fat, chunky signatures. Love that stamp. How have you been? This woman looks very serious about her coffee time. I can totally relate to that too. I don't drink the foofy coffee drinks that come with a straw, but my daughter does. Some fun stitching there. Another serious guy with his cup of coffee. I've got some quotes that were left over from different art journals and coffee journals that I just literally cut the bottom of the page off and folded them in here to, hello Cog, to, he's so good about being so quiet when I make videos. That's why it's even more fun that he's making noise while I'm doing this. Little sorry on the percolator there. And a fabulous coffee ad from probably the late 1800s. This picture may be my favorite in the entire journal. My grandfather, my dad's dad, Pop, looked just like this gentleman. He is the spitting image of Pop in his older years, and Pop used to spend his summers at the Jersey Shore, and then in the winter he would go spend each winter with one of his kids. So we got Pop staying with us every 3rd or 4th year, and he did a lot of cooking. and I learned a lot about things in the kitchen from Pop living with us. Always had a wonderful disposition, great memories. Pop had a hearing aid that he didn't want to turn on, so we always had to shout towards him, which just became habit after a while. Sometimes when I talk about him, I raise my voice as if I'm hollering so he can hear. Neat little coffee cup charms. Wow, that's tight. There we go. Steaming cup of coffee. I'm guessing that is a German ad. German or Dutch, maybe. I don't know what language that's written in, but it's definitely coffee going into the grinder. Another index card stamped with a tab that says coffee. A little bronze coffee spoon. K-cups and my little Mrs. Cobb's craft. It's a Van Gogh. That's the picture of the orphan man that I have on my Van Gogh planner. Another little cup and saucer. These are the little cappuccino, espresso, and latte. I think those were the three of the names of the big coffee journals that I did. And the final page. Put some pretty sorry in back of her picture. And I'm pretty sure that's a Harrison Fisher image. Did a little extra stitching there. So that is my coffee journal. And I'm going to continue through my Tupperware bowls of mini projects that got set aside during the year, some for presents and some for me, and I'll be back with some more flip throughs as soon as they're ready. Thanks for popping in today. Have a great day. Bye-bye.
What I may own, I give it.